Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the shack.
Possibly a little noisy shack today.
Yeah, it seems a bit noisy at the minute, but hopefully, if we can edit some of the noise out, we're hoping to be able to get it to you in a reasonable sense. We are a bit. Steph is a bit shushy at the minute, and her partner is chopping vegetables.
Yeah, it's quite loud. There's nothing I can do about it because he's making nice dinner. So I'm not complaining.
We're not gonna stop him.
I'm not stopping him.
But we are hoping that Riverside, the amazing people that we record this through, will help us to edit out these noises, and you won't know anything different except because I've waffled on about it.
That's the hope. That is
the hope.
Try our best. What's your beverage?
My beverage is from my posh coffee machine. It is, of course, in my mug, but it is an extra large, freshly brewed, from the bean to the cup machine. It's cost us a fortune just to make coffee. Put it that way.
Okay. I'm just going to let you roll with that because I know that this is normal for most people. But for me, I've got one of those little wooden boxes with the grinding tool on the top. So we grind that and then we put it into a little strainer in the mug and then pour the hot water over it and let it sit.
Yeah.
And then
it makes coffee.
It makes coffee.
It makes really nice coffee.
But I'm aware that mine's a bit more simple than your posh machine.
I was simple up until we got the posh machine. I have now got frothy milk on top.
Oh, nice.
I can't see the frothy milk because, of course, I've got my lid on. But I do taste.
It's there.
I do taste it. So, yes, I'm turning into a coffee connoisseur now. So we have coffees from around the world and all.
Is that a connoisseur or something?
Connoisseur? I don't know.
I was just making a play on words with the word coffee and connoisseur.
Connoisseur.
I was just squidging them together. Mind you, to give you a bit of a giggle, I did manage to squidge two words together yesterday when I was in a shop buying something, and the gentleman put the item through for me, and I said, "Perfect, thank you," but I didn't. I said, instead of parfait, merci, I said parfait, and he looked at me and I went, "Don't mind me. That was just a little mixture of perfect and thank you." And he looked at me and he went, "I see." I was like, "But it's the weekend," and he just laughed at me. That's fine. People can laugh at me. My beverage is just water. Nothing exciting, I'm afraid.
Fine.
I just need a bit of extra hydration.
It is good for you. I'm having to hydrate more since we started the coffee machine because I have noticed that it is making me thirsty. So I have, after trying it the first day and trying all sorts of coffees, and literally I was buzzing my whole body. It's like, for those of you not listening, I mean, listening, not watching, I was literally shaking from head to foot. A bit overload on the caffeine, I think. So, I've quietened that down a bit now. So
that's fair. That's fair. We're trying to. I get this whole thing of get a new piece of technology, get a new piece of equipment, and all of a sudden you just want to use it all the time.
Yeah.
I have just purchased a new piece of equipment for the kitchen.
Ooh, okay.
Because getting the temperatures right on these things is sometimes a little bit difficult. So we have bought ourselves a little fryer.
Oh, nice.
Like deep fat fryer. And last night we did do some chips in it, and oh my goodness, it was incredible. And we've not had fried chips. Well, I mean, like ever here. So we miss fish and chips from the UK, like fish and chips done properly, you know. And there is that moment of, I just want to just want a good, battered fish and chips, fried, and it is one of those things now where we're trying really hard not to just use it all the time and do everything in the fryer, because obviously we know that's bad, but it was so good. So good. So good. Anywho, that's my update.
Lovely. We have two new machines then. So today we are looking at time slips, time glitches, and time travel.
Time travel?
Yeah. We have talked about this before.
We've done a time travel episode. Yeah, we did. We did talk about them before.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. People can go back and find it if they want to. It was quite early on when we first started. So, yeah, we're just picking up from that because there's more stories coming in all the time. I have a feeling we may have spoken about this story in our last episode. It's a true story. And it's a story that comes from Steph's dad, my husband. It's something that happened to him as a boy. There are some roads in Britain that don't just take you from one place to another. They take you through things, old things, layered things, things that don't always stay where they should. Tonight's story comes from a man named Steve. We happen to know him rather well. He was a boy at the time, sort of a young teenage, sort of in the 70s this was. He was travelling home with his family after a holiday in Cornwall, and they were headed back along the A30. There were no motorways or dual carriageways at that time anywhere in Cornwall.
There's no motorways now.
There's no motorways now, it's just a dual carriageway. But the dual carriageway didn't arrive until 1985. So, yeah. So they were heading back on the A30, which was a pretty old road at the time. I mean, it's still an old road. It's still there, bits of it, but there's a lot of it now that is dual carriageway.
The A30 is the longest short road in the world. I swear. When you hit that sign of welcome to Cornwall, and you go, oh, I'm nearly there. No, you're not. No, you're not. And you know you're not. It's going to take hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because we all do it. We go, oh, look, yeah, we're in Cornwall. Woo, we're nearly there. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We all know it.
We still have a long way to go. But it's the kind of long, winding road that feels endless at night, especially in bad weather. And that night, the weather turned. The rain didn't just fall, it lashed down. The kind that blurs the headlights into streaks. The kind that makes the road feel uncertain beneath you. Steve remembers the tension in the car, his parents leaning forward slightly, peering through the windscreen as the wipers fought a losing battle. And then, through the rain, there were lights. No passing cars, no distant houses, but there were lights. A village wasn't large, just a small cluster of buildings, a tiny chapel, and almost tucked away from the road, as though it hadn't quite decided it wanted to be found. But there was something open. A hall next to the chapel, a warm light spilling out into the storm. A little sign outside saying, teas, coffees, everyone welcome. Inside, it was dry, warm, and almost too warm after the cold outside. There were women there, a handful of them, and they turned as the family entered and smiled. They weren't surprised or confused, just welcoming. Steve remembers them clearly. Their clothes, not quite right for the 70s, sort of older, a throwback to the 50s maybe, with pinafores and their hair done up, with scarves and styles that you might expect from even wartime Britain maybe. Simple dresses, their aprons, hair set in a way that certainly did not belong to the 70s. But as a child, you don't question those things. You just notice and then you move on. They were shown to a table. There was a few tables set out, and food was brought out, simple things. Steve remembers having a hot dog and, of course, a cup of tea. There's always tea. There was nothing frightening about it, no sense of danger. If anything, it felt safe and calm, like stepping out of the storm and into a place that had been waiting for you. The women were kind and gentle. There was conversation, though later none of the family could quite remember what had been said, but they certainly remembered the feeling, the warmth, the ease. And then, as storms do, it passed. The rain eased, the road called them back. They thanked the ladies, said their goodbyes, and the ladies simply smiled and waved goodbye, as though they had done exactly what they were meant to do. Nothing more, nothing less. The family stepped back outside into the damp, cooling night, got into the car, and drove on, eventually reaching home. Years passed, as they do, and the memory never quite settled. It stayed sharp, clear, and eventually curiosity stirred, and they tried to find it. Every holiday that they went on down to Cornwall, they tried to find the village again. That small place that had appeared exactly when it was needed. They drove the same route. Of course they did. There was no other road out of Cornwall. The same road, the same direction. Looking for the light. Looking for the few buildings that had been there. The chapel, the hall at the side of the chapel. Anything, but there was nothing. No trace that anything had ever been there at all. Nothing abandoned, nothing changed, just absent. 4 people remembered that. Steve, his sister Lynn, and his mum and dad. So not just one person, but 4. Wasn't a dream. It's not a story that grew over time. It's the same story every time they tell it. It was a shared experience, a place they entered, they sat in, they ate in, and they left behind. So the question isn't whether they imagined it. The question is, the hell did they find?
That is indeed a question. And this is the thing, because you're not talking about, a kid who may have dozed off in the back of the car. You're talking about people who were alert and driving. And there is a level of alertness that anyone who drives a vehicle in bad weather understands, that concept of getting with where your arms are too rigid, and you start to get arm ache, you start to get neck ache, shoulder ache, because you're braced against driving rain or snow or hail or high winds. But I guess in that situation, I kind of see it like the room of requirement, where it's like, well, this place turned up because you had need of it at the time. You needed it.
That is it. That is
and it never showed up again because you didn't need it.
That is a great explanation, actually. I like that.
That's my thoughts. That's my process to it. It's like, well, it doesn't need to be there now, then, does it? Because you don't need it. You went looking for it. You wanted it, but you didn't need it. So there you go. That's my thoughts anyway.
So I looked at the types of things that they would look at when somebody was like investigating this. So it looked like we had a family experience, and it was 4 different members of the family who have told the same message and the same story over many years. It was in the 70s. So you're starting to look at like what time area it was. There was less traffic, no dual carriageway, obviously. It has similar markers to others that report events of a similar nature. So other people have talked about places that they've been to and have never been able to find again. And often there is a very welcoming atmosphere. There is often food or music involved. There is always people there that are kind and welcoming. It is quite often a shelter from a storm.
See, needed it. You need it.
Yeah. So, well, I was wondering how else it could be explained. Okay. What I thought we could do to sort of see what other people have experienced was to grab some ideas from Reddit and then talk about those as well and compare them with the ones that Dad had.
Yep.
So this one said, I took a trip with my husband to pick up deliveries for Amazon. So this is quite a moderner, much more modern.
Well, a bit moderner.
Yeah. We decided to take a certain road on our way back. For those that don't know, there is a bridge over a lake. It is over 23 miles long.
Wow.
With 2 lanes going in both directions. You can't speed past anyone unless you like going swimming, they said.
Right.
Let alone turn around.
But there's 2 lanes. So there's 2 lanes on one side, 2 lanes coming the other way.
There are along with 2 lanes going in both directions. So possibly, yeah.
So is that 1 lane going each way, 2 lanes going in both directions?
I honestly don't know. I am only taking it from this person who's described it.
Because the reason that I'm saying this is because she made this person, sorry, he, she, they made the reference to people couldn't pass.
Yeah.
So that makes me think it's 1 lane going one way and one lane going
the other.
We will assume that.
With possibly a barrier down the middle or something. Yeah. So that's the sort of idea I get.
Let's assume that, and we'll go from there.
You can't speed past anyone unless you like going swimming, let alone make a turnaround. So you can't do that either. Anyways, back to my experience. As we were driving, a red pickup truck literally loaded in next to us, it says. Not quite sure of the wording there. It started as a red pixelated blob and then transformed into a vehicle. Both my husband and the driver behind the truck reacted instantly. The look on both their faces as if they'd seen a dead loved one. So was the truck coming towards them, do you think?
Maybe if it started out as one, or it was ahead of them and they were speeding up behind it.
It sounds as though it's coming in the opposite direction towards them. It looks as though the truck was coming towards them. They were going towards the truck. No, perhaps it wasn't. No. Looks we'll take all that back. Looks as though it was behind them.
Oh, I see. In the mirrors, maybe.
Yeah. And the hang on, let me go back here. As we were driving, a red pickup truck literally, I'm not sure of the wording of this because it's not.
Well, okay, so loaded up on it. Is that what it was? Loaded up?
Loaded in next to us.
Loaded in next to us. Now, this, I'm assuming, has possibly come out of the US or something like that, because this sounds like something I would hear from the US. But what it actually means, maybe we can do a video where we ask people on TikTok or something. Because we may need to know the answer to this. What does it mean when a vehicle loads up next to you? Loads in next to you.
Yeah. The pickup truck literally loaded in next to us. It started as a red pixelated blob, then it transformed into a vehicle. So I'm assuming it's coming up behind them. Both my husband and the driver.
So it's in the passenger seat.
Both my husband and the driver behind the truck reacted instantly. The look on both their faces as if they'd seen a dead loved one. So it was the person in this car and the person in the car behind them.
Yes, but also next to, it's a dual carriageway. It's 2 lanes going one way.
It must be 2 lanes.
It must be 2 lanes going one way. I'm trying to see this in my head. Folks, for those of you that don't know, I'm a very visual person. If I can't see this in my head, I cannot make sense of it. So I think it's 2 lanes.
It's 2 lanes because it then goes
loaded. What was it? They said loaded
up,
in. Loaded in. Next to us. They've like come up on the inside or outside of them, and there's a car behind this lorry, or behind them. Yeah. Okay.
So it's come up by both of them, I think.
Right. Okay. Yep. I can see it. Okay.
This is all trying to understand somebody's explanation of something.
I love it. I love it. Sometimes it's a bit cryptic, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Both my husband and the driver behind the truck reacted instantly. The look on both their faces as if they'd seen a dead loved one. My husband decided to speed past the pickup truck, so he's obviously gone in front of them now, as we looked into the driver's window.
Right.
It was completely blacked out and warped. Yeah. And after about 2 miles, the truck disappeared. And she's like, how?
Where would it have gone?
There's literally no way to get off until you reach this place called Metari? We were still 10 miles into our drive before we reached the city. So
1 second. I'm going to make a noise.
She's going to look it up.
I like it when I get names of places because I get to look it up. Hold that thought. We need a map, people. We need a map.
Does it Google? Is it Googly Maps?
Of course it is. Okay, spell it for me. Let's go.
MET.
Yep.
AI.
Yep.
RIE.
Oh, could that be LA? Possibly. I'm saying this because we're going with the possible US thing. Oh, it is. Oh, that lake is huge.
Yeah. Lake Pontchartrain?
That's the one. I don't know how to say it, but
I don't know how to say it.
I can see this road, and it's a monster. And let's face it, if you were trying to go around, it would take you a very long time to do the roundabout route. It's amazing. I love it because I get to look it up. I love it. Okay. So we can say, actually, do you know what? Let's just go in a little bit deeper and let's see if it's 2 lanes.
Oh gosh, yeah, of course.
Because I've even got a street view on this sucker, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there are occasional passing spaces, it would seem.
Okay.
So there are occasional laybys, essentially, but it's 2 lanes going each way, which that would fit with what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So you can safely pass a car. So them saying about pulling up alongside, pulling around them, they can do that safely without going on the wrong side of the road. Incidentally, it's not a barrier in the middle. It is 2 individual lanes. So even if this vehicle disappeared, even if you say, oh, they pulled an unsafe U-turn, can't do it.
Okay.
Can't do it. There's water in the middle. There's just a drop. It's 2 individual roads. You cannot, and it is all the way. You cannot get onto the other side of the road. Not judging by this.
Yeah, which is exactly what she said. If you turn, you're going to end up swimming.
Oh,
this
actually,
happened.
Do you know what? Hang on, 1 second. Somewhere there is one place that I can see where you could get across, but you would have to. It is literally like 2.5 car lengths, so you would have to stop and literally like pull into that little space. So there is like a little bit across, but it is tiny. And I don't know if that's the only one or if there are others. There's a couple of laybys. There is another one of those. So arguably it could have just decided, and there's a couple of places where it seems you can actually like launch yourself off of this road and go for a swim.
Oh, right.
They've got a lot of bollards in the way of that, but that looks a bit dicey to me, but never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she or he or them go on to say this happened around 3 to 4 years ago. Her partner doesn't feel comfortable talking about it. How do you explain a random truck popping up to someone without looking insane? That's how it's written.
Yeah, how do you talk about a random truck popping up? Yeah, without sounding crazy. Unfair. Yeah. Absolutely.
And you should have seen it coming from miles back, and you would have seen it continuing.
It's a very long straight road. This is not like it doesn't look like a bridge where there are any bends at all in it. It is one straight line, plumb level. So yeah,
the person,
I can understand that the sort of there would be a billion opportunities to pick holes in this on any other road.
Yeah.
But this particular road, it's a lot less possible, you know?
Yeah. Goes on to say, just give a brief background. I had a lot of unusual experiences I couldn't easily explain. It happened since my high school years, and this experience I'm writing about is just one of those unexplained experiences you cannot find anywhere else. I usually do not talk about this to people, but after thinking, I decided to really tell people that there is a lot to reality that we do not know about.
That's totally fair. And again, I come back to that whole thing of it's okay to say, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, what's to say that with a little bit of research, it makes me wonder. Carry on, and I will just do a little exploratory searching here.
Okay, I've got one here. I've saved all these. I haven't necessarily read them, so I will see how they come across. Next one. My friend and I were on a winding road through the woods one night, pretty late. We came around a bend and we both gasped as we saw a woman standing in the road. My friend hit the brakes and managed to stay on the road, and then the woman was just gone. There were steep embankments on both sides, and there were tons of trees. There was no way a person could have vanished from sight so quickly. There you go. That was another one. Do you want another one? I was running super late. I have to say that super is beginning to get right on my... Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I was running late to get to college. I missed the transit bus that I normally take, and I had to take a later bus on the same route. The bus ride took 55 minutes, which meant that I'd be about half an hour late to class. I arrived at class on time, with about 10 minutes to spare. So somehow, the 55-minute bus route was shaved down to 15 minutes. I wish I'd been paying attention instead of studying to see if we had magically hit every green light on the route or something else to explain it.
I mean, yeah. See, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention, people.
Pay attention. We need more details, and we can't talk about it if you're not paying attention.
So, Dad has had other time oozy-woozy minutes where he's lost time, but I will leave those for another day. I've got here, if you ever find yourself on a long road or street, etc., in the middle of a storm and you see a light, don't be too quick to drive past. Perhaps some places only open or appear when you need them.
See, requirement.
place of requirement, and
I
they
will.
don't. And they
Sorry.
don't always open twice.
Yeah, because you only need them once.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it. Anyway, going back to that particular location, I have sort of suddenly become aware that I said LA. I didn't mean Los Angeles. Okay, when I said LA, I was referring to the abbreviation on the internet, which was Louisiana, I think. Just, you know. But yeah, it's not LA. It just said LA, meaning Louisiana. I'm sorry, it was just confusing. But I can't find any other stuff going on there.
All right. Okay.
There's something about a murder mystery event that was going on, that was somewhere around that location. There's something in 2017. Last time is a missing persons thing, but it says something about it was a him and his pickup truck. But when I go anywhere onto it to try to find out more, it takes me to a YouTube video, which I can't watch right now.
No,
because we're busy. But there might be some more information about a man.
And we have talked about doing some reaction videos.
We have. So maybe that one is one that we could take a look
at. We are learning on our feet, everybody, because we have no idea how to do these videos yet.
And no, we've never done reaction videos before.
And I've been on a learning. Yeah, I've been on a learning curve myself this last 2 weeks, trying to edit a video for next week. If I can find it, when I actually export it, I will upload it to YouTube. At the minute I've exported it, I cannot find it. I have no idea where it is. I'm sure between me
You've done a search for it?
I have done a search for it, yes. Yes. It didn't work. I've changed the name of it now to make it very standoutish. And I will sit with AI and see if we can find it. Right. I will just go through these because these were supposed to have come during the story I was telling. So I will just say, when we were doing that investigation part, just to say that Steve's story hit several classic markers that researchers and folklore collectors quietly raise an eyebrow at. So I did mention some of them. It was stormy or bad weather. Apparently that has a significant part of these time slips where you find somewhere that then disappears afterwards. The welcome, I did again mention this as well. The welcoming was kind, calm, almost too nice. And they were not surprised by visitors. I did see an amazing story once where some people turned up to, they went on holiday to France a long time ago, I might add, but they turned up at this hotel and they said it was very strange because the hotel was very old and very old fashioned. They paid in francs.
Oh.
And it was something ridiculous. They went, I'm sort of guessing it was around the sort of 70s, maybe 70s it might have been, but they paid in francs, which probably would have been right anyway, but they were expecting to pay a certain amount, and that ridiculously they were asked for something like 4 francs or something for bed and breakfast. Yeah, it was very weird. And while they were eating their breakfast, the local gendarmes came in to eat, but they said that their uniforms were really, really old, right?
I mean, they could have just been in Brittany. I mean,
very
everything here is like behind the rest of France by like 30 years. It's got to be. I always said the same thing about Cornwall. You know, Cornwall in the UK, when you consider the fact that we used to find it like an enjoyable experience to go up to Plymouth to ride the escalator because you didn't have one in Cornwall, and you got to go up to one of the big shops, in Plymouth, and it had an escalator. And it was like the best thing in the whole world because you could get on the magical moving stairs.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the world is like, what are you talking about? And it's like, seriously, I grew up in Cornwall. We didn't have one of those. Like, yeah. Same thing. Behind the times.
Anyway, this apparently they left the place in their car, went back to find it a year or so later, and all they could find was a broken down, abandoned building that had been abandoned for years and years and years. It was literally had no roof. It had just fallen down. It was just a pile of stones. And apparently, years and years and years ago, we're going back sort of probably to the 50s, 40s, or 30s even. It was next door to the gendarmerie. That is not there either. Yeah. But they want to know.
So weird.
They want to know why nobody in the place questioned their clothes.
Yeah.
Nobody in the place questioned their brand new car outside. That would have been far too in the future for it to have been a car. But no, nobody, not even the police officers coming in. You'd think they would say, "Ooh, who's got the space age vehicle outside?" But no, nobody did. But that's quite a well-known story. That one is somewhere on the internet, on YouTube.
Right.
Okay, but it was welcoming, and they weren't surprised by the visitors. In fact, they were set up to entice the visitors in. They were dressed from another era.
Yep.
The food was basic and nostalgic, and that's exactly what they said about the place when they went to the bed and breakfast place as well. With tea, of course. Anything in the UK, if you go back in time, you are always going to be offered tea.
I tell you what, this is because if they didn't put tea into something like that, it would be like, I'm sorry,
it
what?
Would be weird.
That's weird. That's weird. It wouldn't be weird that they're wearing strange clothes or they're speaking a different way or nobody referenced the super, souped up car outside. That's not weird. We don't, that wouldn't flag in your head, but don't have tea.
Yeah, if it's in
that
Britain,
would ring alarm bells.
Yeah,
something weird is going on if tea is not available.
But anyway, it said that usually the template of these is that the place cannot be found again, even when retracing the same route. Obviously, with the French one, they were able to find the place, but it hadn't been open for years and years and years and years.
I love that.
And it also says in these investigations that road details matter. So this one was saying the A30 from Cornwall to London passes through remote moorland. You make a bit more noise, please.
Sorry.
Remote moorland, old coaching routes, and areas with deep historical layering. Parts of this particular route have been in use in one form or another for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So there you go.
Wow. I like it.
So it said the family may not have found a lost place, but a place that belonged to a different version of that road. This was the skeptics' idea. It may have been a temporary community event, a small village hall that no longer operates. That's all very well and good, but it's not even there anymore. And normally when these old halls are attached to old churches, they are still there.
And they did say they couldn't find the chapel.
No, they couldn't find anything.
Chapels and church buildings here do not vanish.
No.
In Cornwall, in Brittany, same thing. If it's there, if it's built for that purpose, it's going to be there. These are not wooden, prefabbed buildings. These are stone buildings.
Yeah, they're normally stone buildings.
Yeah.
It says they may have misremembered the location. that's all very well and good, but it's on the same route. And that same route was there for years and years, like we said.
Yeah. There's one big road in Cornwall. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it may have changed a little now because now we've got the dual carriageways and it's cut through slightly different places.
Yeah, we have the bypass now, which obviously is a much more sort of straight through road, although some of it's still not open, I don't think. But
yeah.
So yes, if there was something that had happened in a small village, when roads are redone and things like that, yeah, you can lose track of where things are, and placements of things are messed up a little bit in your head.
Yeah.
When I went back to Cornwall, I was trying to find the old location of Chivy, and I couldn't find it very easily because nothing looks the same, and it's weird. But and I appreciate how that happens, but in these kinds of situations that we're talking about, no, that's not as easy.
No, so it said that places might have been renamed, absorbed into another town, and the hall been demolished, but it wouldn't have been because it was an old village hall, and they rarely demolish them if they're attached to old churches.
Yeah.
But in any case, those are the sort of questions that you would ask. It says, but you cannot explain the period clothing and the hairstyles and the complete inability of multiple people to ever find this place again.
Yeah, again, you're not just talking about one person having a hallucination or a dream or something. This is something that has been shared amongst multiple people in a vehicle or, traveling together.
Yeah.
Even if they had all fallen asleep at the same time, it's highly unlikely that they would have had the same dream at the same time unless something weird was going on.
Plus
we're either talking about one weird thing or another.
Plus the fact that Steve's dad, as my dad was the same, would have travelled backwards and forwards on that road at least every year, if not more than that, backwards and forwards on the same road. They would know exactly where they were. There were only maps, and you got to know roads very well.
When we say there was only maps, there were only paper maps.
Paper maps, yeah. You had nothing to show you the way. You learnt routes like this, and they became almost like you knew which way you were going.
And this is the thing, because if it was in a situation where it was a clear night or whatever, and they knew, they would have known exactly where they were. They would have known where they were. The fact that it was like really, really bad weather to the point where their ability to know where they were was already obscured.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. Kind of weird.
That's where they could just pop up.
Yeah.
When you're not sure where you're going, not sure where you are. But anyway.
I like it.
I like it. The questions that we're going to ask our listeners, has anything like this ever happened to you?
Never happened to me, but then that's not surprising. I was just perfect timing. Keep going.
What would you think or say or react in a similar situation? I'd be fascinated. I'd love it. And what questions are still unanswered? I think lots.
Many. Many questions are still unanswered. I haven't got a bloody clue what's going on. I mean, story of my life, but
yeah.
I think, like I say, I don't know is a perfectly valid answer, I think, in these kinds of situations, because how the hell are we supposed to know? I've never had it happen to me, but that's not to say I don't believe it. You know? Because I could totally believe that could happen. And how do you then explain it? How do you explain to people that you were totally aware of everything going on, that you literally got out of your vehicle and engaged with these people? How do you explain that without sounding completely insane? It's a weird one.
It's not like it's not just something you've just seen.
No,
because your dad has.
It wasn't
seen...
a quick flash.
No,
of something. It wasn't like a cyclist that suddenly wasn't there. You know,
Yeah.
It was there one second and gone the next.
This is somewhere that you actually visited. You actually went into the building. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with your listeners, with our listeners, I mean, and ask if anybody has had anything happen to them like this. Please let us know. We would honestly be fascinated to hear. I want you, YouTube channelers, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We actually had 3 likes on our video this.
I love the fact we're celebrating that. 3! And it wasn't me.
It wasn't me either. That was the most exciting bit. It wasn't me coming in on my other channel and listening to it and then giving us a thumbs up.
Oh, it's okay. I was part of a business group when I ran my business. I was part of this business group, and they put a post on there that just said, "Today I liked my own post. Nobody died." It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, well, you don't really do that. You don't like your own post. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Absolutely, you do. But it wasn't us on this occasion. I didn't. It
was not. So I was like, whoa, look at us. Look at us.
Well, there's 3 people out there thinking we're doing something okay.
It must be.
Even though some of these episodes are a little bit fly by the seat of your pants, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. That's just us and the shack.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a shit show. And
we are going, if you see next week's one, the one after this, you'll see me in the same clothes because we're just about to record the next session.
Absolutely. See you in a minute.
Or next week. So I'll let you finish, Steph.
Okay, well, with that being said, lovely listeners, keep your minds open and your lamps lit, and we will see you again next week.
Yes.
Unless you're binge watching, in which case in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging out in the shack with us. If you've got a strange story, theory, or even just a spooky question, send it to shackpackinbox@gmail.com because we'd love to hear from you. Follow us to ensure that you never miss an episode of The Freaking Shack, because listening to us is much cheaper than therapy and slightly more spooky. Until we meet again next week, Shackpackers, take care.